I'm Catherine Court.
And I'm Kimberly Court.
We're the owners of Pilates on 5th here in Manhattan and the creators of Pilates on 5th online. Today we'd like to talk about 3 benefits of the stability ball. You've probably all worked on a stability ball, seen one, but there are 3 really salient benefits of it.
Yes.
We'd like to share those with you. First and foremost, closed chain exercise.
Yes.
What is closed chain exercise, you ask? It's basically, so here, I'll give an example. So Kimberly's going to get on all fours, and she's going to...
Do you want my head this way?
Yes.
Okay.
And she's going to lift one leg up, and from that position just bend and straighten her legs. So she's clearly working her hamstrings, but this is open chain. What defines open chain is the center stays still, and the distal end, in this case the foot, is the one that's moving. So now,
sorry.
Just to balance it out.
Okay.
So for closed chain, what it means is your distal end is fixed. So now from here, she's going to lift up from here. She's still working her hamstrings and her glutes, but now the distal end is fixed and
Is moving.
it's still moving, but it's fixed on a ball. So
Right.
it's not moving in the same way. So that's what we mean by that. So you just recruit more muscles. The core gets more involved. Do you feel your core
Yes.
here? Go back to the other one real quickly. So basically, when she's in the all fours position and she's moving, you can only do one leg at a time, which obviously has its merit. But she's being mindful of engaging her core, but she doesn't have to.
I could be here.
You can sink. Whereas when you're doing it with your feet on the ball, you kind of have to engage your core. So that's one benefit.
And I would like to apologize for everything. The distal end is supported and moving, which is what's important.
Right.
And I might have confused everybody by saying it's moving, but the key is it's supported.
Right.
So I apologize for that.
I think it's okay. So the next benefit of a stability ball is actually the instability that it brings. You have to use more muscle. So Kimberly, just put your head this way, your legs this way, and just do a couple of side leg lifts.
Oh,
Side, yes.
okay. That's where my mic pack is, so I'm going to go the other way.
Yeah, so if she's doing side leg lifts here,
Or kicking front.
Right. So even if she didn't completely engage her core, she could still get away with doing the exercise. And we as instructors may or may not notice the lack of engagement, especially with smaller people, or if they're wearing big voluminous clothing, you just don't know. But if you do the same exercise on a stability
And I can do it here,
Are you
because
sure?
I'll slide it over, yeah.
Same exercise on a stability ball and prop yourself up. Now she's going to lift, and now just because you're on a ball on an unstable surface, you have to engage all of these muscles, because if you don't, you're going to roll off. I'm not going to ask you to roll off for us. So it adds a lot of instability. There's another exercise that we can do here, so go ahead and sit on the ball this time. And it's just a nice exercise to do to test stability between the right and the left side. So what she's going to do, you can either do it hands on hips, hands on shoulders, arms reaching out to the side, doesn't really matter. Just lift one leg just a little bit, and then the other leg. So now this exercise clearly does not have a wow factor. We're not working big muscles.
But what you usually see...
Yes, exactly.
Go ahead, sorry.
So we're working smaller muscles, and so as Kimberly just demonstrated, if the smaller muscles give out, then you're going to shift to one side. But more important than that, if the smaller muscles aren't working properly and you try to use the big muscles to accomplish the task, the same thing will happen. If you engage your glutes too much in this exercise, it's going to shift you one way or another, because it's supposed to be a deeper, smaller exercise.
And also, if you engage your glutes too much, your pelvis will roll forward and you will not have the stability.
Turn to the side really quickly so people can see. When you're sitting on a stability ball, it's a really good place to teach neutral. Because if you go into a posterior tilt, you're going to slide that way. And if you go into an anterior tilt, it just kind of reinforces the anterior tilt, and it feels more of a compaction than you might otherwise feel. All right, back to the front, and we'll talk about merit number 3, which is it will inform exercises that you already do, or just give you some information into daily tasks that can really be functional. So we're going to just take the spine twist. We've all done the spine twist on the mat for how long? But if you do it on a stability ball, you naturally have to keep the pelvis in neutral. You have to engage the core a little more. If you start to lean to one side, as is very easy to do in a spine twist, the ball will let you know, hey, you're leaning right now. And so people can self-correct, which is also very nice. You don't have to cue them to death. You can say, oh, do you see how the ball moved? It's happening because of this, so be mindful of X, Y, or Z.
And sometimes clients will say, for instance, okay, I'm just going to fake it a little bit. Notice I'm rolling. They'll say, why am I rolling that way? And then it's your job as the fitness professional to tell them why they're rolling that way. It's because when I started to twist, I leaned, my hips went the opposite way. So little things like that, you just have to look at what's happening and know what caused it.
And finally, an exercise we love on the stability ball is one, it really is great if you're working with people who are getting older, and we're all getting older.
Right. Basically, we're all getting older.
But it's a good way to help people figure out how to get in and out of a chair without using their hands. And that's actually a really big deal. So Kimberly's going to cross her hands over her chest, and she's going to do 3 little bounces. Bounce, 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 and then stand up, it's like you're hovering. And then come back down, bounce, bounce, and hover. So notice when she goes into the hover position that her shoulders come over her knees. And if you think about it, if you're getting out of a chair, no matter how tall it is, small it is, you have to go through that position to both get in and out of the chair. So this is a wonderful functional little exercise, and that's what we mean by the stability ball can inform exercises that you already do or daily activities. Daily activities, people are getting in and out of chairs, and you don't want it to be that you're using your hands to get in and out
Right,
of the chair.
and conversely, this can help teach the way the pelvis should be in relation to the femur when you go into the sitting posture as well, because many people, just make sure the ball doesn't roll away from me so I don't fall on the floor. Many people, when they start to sit, as they get older, instead of going into a chair, even if I'm sitting in a real chair, not a ball, you have to go through this position and then land there. But what tends to happen is people go into it with and they immediately go for that. So doing this little bounce, bounce, hover teaches that this is the position you want the pelvis and the spine and the hip joint, the lumbopelvic region, to be into and out of a sitting position, so that when they go into sitting, they don't go into it like that. So. Yes, right. I am afraid of falling off the ball.
That would go in the outtake reel, just like that.
Would never make it to YouTube.
So those are 3 benefits of the stability ball.
Okay, good.